John, an experienced drone enthusiast, decided to explore a new area. As he flew his drone, he noticed a small door on top of a nearby mountain. Intrigued, he flew the drone closer to investigate. As he zoomed in, he saw that the door was very tiny, and curiosity got the better of him. John decided to climb up the rocky mountain to take a closer look. But little did he know that was a very, very bad decision. Getting into the old metal door was anything but easy, but with sheer grit and determination, John managed to do it. And he was blown away by what he was seeing when he was making his way deeper and deeper into the mountain. Somebody had created this for a purpose, and when John finally found out what that purpose really was, he nearly froze from pure shock. He knew very well beforehand that he was not supposed to be in here. This was the confirmation that made that actually real for him. John started to run out of the mountain as quickly as possible. He just hoped that the damage had not already been done here. But what did John find in the mountain? Why was it hidden behind a strange metal door? And why was going through it a very bad decision? John had wanted to explore this area for a long time now, but the local authorities had always been in his way. These forests had been a protected area for decades now, and getting in was not easy. And so he decided to take a risk. His desire to explore was just too great. If he could not enter these woods himself, then maybe his drone could. He would stay on the edge of the area while he would pilot his drone through all that beautiful land, getting the shot he so desperately wanted. As an experienced drone pilot, John had been selling the footage he managed to capture his flying friend online to make an extra buck, and he had quickly figured out that footage of places that were illegal to enter sold very well and for a good price. John noticed a small mountain or rock formation that seemed to be at the center of the protected area. There was actually something strange located near the top. John speculated that it might be a metal object of some sort, and as he flew his drone even closer to it, he just about managed to make out that it was a door of some sort. And then something else suddenly happened. His trustworthy drone suddenly started to malfunction heavily. Within seconds, the screen started to glitch and John lost the controls. The screen went completely black, and the last thing that he saw was that the drone was crashing towards the foot of the mountain. Now John was faced with a dilemma. Not only did he want to get his expensive drone back and see if there was anything he could still salvage from it, but John did not feel like he had another choice, right? And he decided to scale the fence. His heart was nearly beating out of his chest as John was trying to make his way through the thick vegetation. John was using his GPS to make sure that he was still heading toward the mountain, as the forest was so difficult to traverse that you could easily get off track here. After about an hour of walking, he finally found what he was looking for. His drone was hanging in some vines high in the trees. John decided to just leave it up there and continue to his other goal of the journey, the strange metal door. As he started his ascent, John realized the deceptive nature of the mountain's terrain. He regretted not bringing more suitable gear. As John climbed higher, the sheer magnitude of the mountain became evident. From below, it seemed so manageable. As he ventured further, John discovered etchings on some boulders. They appeared to be of ancient origin, possibly made by indigenous tribes. Were they a form of guidance? A warning? The final stretch to the door felt both exhilarating and ominous. With every step, the metallic entrance grew larger, emphasizing its out-of-place nature in this wild setting. John's heart raced, anticipating the secrets and stories hidden behind the imposing barrier. While the door's size suggested it was built for something large to pass through, its detailed design indicated purpose, care, and intention. John was drawn to an almost concealed side entryway, much smaller and less grand than the main entrance. The hidden door was bound by a padlock, weathered and rusted over time. Undeterred, John began attacking the lock with his water bottle. Once inside, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The darkness was almost tangible, engulfing John. The flashlight's beam offered minimal visibility, revealing a cavernous space ahead. John quickly realized that the cavern wasn't just one large space. Various pathways branched out, each more enticing and mysterious than the last. The mountain's walls, etched with the scars of time, seemed to whisper tales of those who might have trod these paths long before him. This wasn't just a place of exploration for John anymore, it was a witness to stories yet untold. A breathtaking expanse awaited John after squeezing through a particularly tight crevice. The hallway was not just an architectural marvel, it was a gallery of the past. Displayed on raised platforms, and within the alcoves were remnants of a bygone era: broken pottery, rusted weapons, and faded textiles. Each artifact told tales of daily life, of celebrations, wars, and perhaps ceremonies. John felt an overwhelming respect for a civilization he could only dream of understanding. But now, the silence was profound. Every footstep John made echoed back, bouncing off the walls. Suddenly, in the midst of his ascent, a new sound pierced the silence. Footsteps, distinctly different from his own. They echoed eerily, making it hard to decipher their distance or direction. A shiver ran down John's spine. The realization dawned upon him he might not be the only living being journeying through the mountain's heart. The once bright beam of his flashlight now flickered erratically. Dread settled in John's stomach as he fumbled for spare batteries, only to remember he had left them behind. With a dimming flashlight and growing exhaustion, the weight of despair began to press on John. He needed to find an escape or at least a sign indicating the right direction. Amid the shadows, John noticed an area that stood apart. Age-old equipment, constructed from materials he didn't recognize, lay scattered. These weren't relics of an ancient civilization, but rather machines with intricate designs and unfamiliar functionalities. Although worn with time, they bore an aura of purpose and sophistication. Beyond the machinery, a grand chamber revealed itself, resembling a control room of sorts. Panels adorned with cryptic symbols, levers, and large circular screens hinted at the room's significance. Amid the dust and cobwebs, John felt as though he had stumbled upon the very heart of the mountain's secrets, a place that once pulsed with activity and purpose. Curiosity overcoming caution, John tentatively pressed a worn button. A hum vibrated through the ground, followed by a slow, illuminating glow from the screens. Beside the control panel, a drawer yielded aged, brittle documents. Logs, written in a mix of familiar and foreign scripts, spoke of expeditions, discoveries, and something termed the mountain's core. The notes danced around a momentous discovery, but frustratingly, the final pages were missing. John felt tantalizingly close to a profound truth. The mountain's quiet was disrupted by a distant, ominous rumble. The machinery's activation might have alerted something or someone. John's heart raced. He had delved deep and perhaps lingered too long. With the echoing rumble growing nearer, the need to retrace his steps and emerge into the open became imperative. John began his descent with urgency, the weight of his discoveries quickening his pace. The towering walls seemed to close in on him as he navigated tight squeezes and slippery slopes. Every turn held the promise of an exit, but also the potential for dead ends. The journey down felt even more daunting than the climb had been. Emerging into a familiar cavern, John's heart leapt at the sight of his drone, lying undisturbed. Its presence was a beacon of the modern world amidst ancient mysteries, offering a semblance of comfort and familiarity. With the drone safely in hand, the exit's beckoning grew stronger. As he neared the mountain's base, John couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. Unfamiliar rustles and whispers echoed, suggesting a possible pursuit. Each noise heightened his senses, making shadows dance menacingly. Was he truly alone, or had awakening the machinery stirred something more? As John moved further, an expansive chamber appeared ahead, concealed by layers of rocks and vines. Its vastness was breathtaking, resembling a hangar more than a natural formation. The ceiling was high, with strange patterns inscribed. This wasn't just any aircraft. Its sleek design and unfamiliar markings suggested it belonged to an era far ahead of our time, or perhaps from a past too distant to remember. He quickly captured images with his drone, ensuring evidence of his discovery before making a hasty retreat. Emerging from the cavernous depths, the open air was a welcome relief. As the sunlight bathed his face, the threat and wonder of the mountains seemed like another world. Back at camp, John replayed the drone footage, juxtaposing it against his own memories. The images of the jet were clear and undeniable. He felt like an archaeologist who had unearthed not relics of the past, but rather a foreshadowing of the future or a chapter of history long forgotten. The weight of responsibility pressed on him. Unveiling this discovery could change history, but it also held risks. What if others sought the jet for nefarious purposes? What did its presence signify? John grappled with the dilemma of protecting the find and informing the world. After much thought, John decided he had to share his discovery. But how? Crafting a plan, he made duplicates of his footage, hid the original in a safe location, and began reaching out anonymously to trusted figures in archaeology and aviation. The mountain's guardians, real or imagined, seemed to extend their presence into his very psyche. Within days of discreetly sharing snippets of the footage, the story exploded. Media outlets worldwide broadcasted the images of the ancient yet futuristic jet. Speculations ran wild, theories abounded, and John's discreet world was turned upside down. The hidden mountain and its enigmatic jet became the epicenter of global curiosity.